Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Bad news, bad news, bad news for the West. Not Ukraine. Ukraine is just, for the West. What's going on? Putin announced, or at least he signed a decree, an order, that really will up things. And I think this is the last step before he calls it general mobilization. That general mobilization means everybody gets arms and goes and fight. And there will be about 30 million by my humble calculations, based on the 145 million, let's say, Russians from the, from that territory. You get, you put it to half and so on. I calculated about at least 30 million. So what did Putin do? And this is very bad news. Because I said this is a step forward towards that. I think after that means general mobilization, go over there. Now, here it is. This is reported by Ukrainska Pravda from today, May 10th, 2023. Putin announces call up of Russians to military training camps. There is the guy who has cancer, the guy who's, this is the double, the guy who's all that, has syphilis and all that. That's not him, that's a puppet and all that. This guy right here. Now, let me add this before I start reading the article and give you details. There was the parade of the Victory Day on the 9th of May 2023 in Moscow in the Red Square. And he said, Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, he said, among others, we are in a real war with the West. That's what he said. We are in a real war. I think he said active hot war, not hot war. He didn't say, this guy said hot war. It's not like actual war with the West. So that was yesterday, and today he comes up with this decree. That means he really thinks that. Anyway, let's go and see what's going on here in this little article. Remember, this comes from the Ukrainians. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, has announced the call of reservists to military training camps. Now, who's the reservists over there? Whomever was in the military. And I don't know if that is each and every person. I don't remember if they still have the mandatory, conscription. They used to, I don't know if they still have it. So the reservists, let's see how many. This is this, and I will not be able to read what these guys are saying here. But anyway, maybe my Russian, Ukrainian friends would be able to read it. Quote, and I'm quoting, obviously. I hereby order to call up the citizens of the Russian Federation who are a part of the reserve army to the military training in the armed forces of Russia, forces of the National Guard of Russia, bodies of state security and the Federal Security Service, FSB, in 2023. End quote. You're toast. The government calms the population, claiming these are routine measures aimed at improving the combat training of reservists, and such measures are held annually. Okay, could be. In April, CNN, with reference to the Western officials, reported that the Kremlin has troubles with the formation of the, and I'm quoting, prepared military manpower, end quote, yet it also fears a new wave of mobilization in Russia due to the current mood of the population. Well, that's CNN, so don't believe shit, okay? The mood. They know the mood of the Russians. And the other ones are just going to war because they love their nation, but these guys are not, because they hate Putin. But Putin has an 83 approval rating. I will make a video probably tonight. I have about 20-some articles ready to make videos out of. How do I do? When I go and pick up my articles, I divide them by A articles and B articles. A are the ones that are in the front row and the pole position, and B are like, okay, if the A, I run out of A, B comes up. And surprise, surprise, many times the B articles that I thought, they're not be that important, you guys watch them more than the A's. So it's like, I'm not saying the B's are not important, but not in my assessment. Those will be more important, more, and then I say, okay, that's okay, I'm good, very good, thank you very much, guys, for watching them. But when I see a B, like, I guess, man, all right, and then it'll boom, explode, and I'm like, how in the... Anyway, well, thank you very much anyway. Thank you very much for being with me. I mean, without you, I'll be here yapping around, which, that's how I started, and thank you again. So what could this be? So the Russians are doing this annually. Remember, the Swiss military does the same thing. I have some acquaintances in Switzerland, and I visited, and they had their military automatic weapons, not the bullshit these guys, AR-15, the Kalashnikovs, the ones that are not, the real, how should I put it, the military grade. These are not military grade weapons, but anyway, let's call them however you want. Those guys have them automatic, not and that's it. So they have the real thing, and they have under their beds, wherever they have them, and they annually are called up, it depends on how old they are, to do military training. And that's all fine. They take their shit and they go. Because if the war starts, let's say someone would attack Switzerland, they are over there. So they have everything in their house. We don't have it. We have boom, boom, yeah, pam, pam. That's anyway, and those guys come with this and come with other shit, But anyway, well, my point was, they do the training every year, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week. It depends on how old you are and how experienced you are. So maybe the Russians are doing the same thing. That's a good thing. Have a prepared army and be ready if you're invaded or if you have to invade someone to defend yourself, remember? Anyway, this is it, my friends. That could be, as I said, a step to general mobilization. Not necessary, but at least they're taking active measures in order to have a prepared army. Now, I want to have this question, or not question, but yeah, a rhetorical question. These guys keep yapping around that the Russian military is not prepared, is not trained. Now, if the Russians are doing this thing as a general, every year, yearly, annual training, how come they are not trained? Are they dumb? They don't know how to train them, or what's going on? If they do it every year, we'll see. We'll find out. Okay, maybe this is a little scare tactic, but I think it's good to train them. We'll see. We'll see what's going to be the next step. I think everybody else on the other side is like, shit, they're going to do this again. I hope they don't call for a general mobilization. And he's not going to call for a general mobilization. He's going to do what he does best, work with the minimum effort of personnel. That's what I think. Why minimum? Well, he's fighting the West with 600,000 people, personnel. That's all he fights with. 5, 6, 400,000, and he's got a possibility of 30 million. Oh, Russia is losing. Russia will not lose. It's impossible to lose. Why? Because they have nuclear weapons. In case they die, all of them, it's going to be a one, and close the door, the last one, boom, and then going to be right, I'm going to sing that, and that will be it. Right? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.